All right, so here is our math homework. So we'll look at the practice one first. Okay, so here's 5 times 2/5. So do you see right here they put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And out of those 5, they're going to color in 2 out of 5 of them. So they colored 1, 2 out of 5, 1, 2 out of 5, 1, 2, 1, 2 out of 5, 1, 2 out of 5. So do you see that, Anai? They did 5 times 2/5. So here is 2 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 2 out of 5. So we drew it 5 times.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and you.
Oh, and that's what you're saying, Anai. So you did the 2, so that's where you got confused, huh? So I colored the 2/5. So I'm going to say it one more time, and I'm going to record it this time. So I colored 2 out of 5, 5 times. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But now I want to combine them together. So all these are blank, empty. So I'm going to take these two and I will move them. I'm going to take these two and move them here. These two and move them here. These two and move one here and one up here. And these two move here and these two here. So when I move them all over, I see that I colored in 1, 2, right? I have 5 out of 5 and 5 out of 5, so I have 1, 2. So this is equal to 2. This is just the example one. So of each model, 2/5 is shaded, right? 2/5, 2/5, 2/5, 2/5, 2/5. And at the end, I could count that I shaded in altogether 2 whole. I colored in 10/5, right? I colored in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here I'm going to color 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I colored in the same amount of fifths. So I had 10/5 altogether. And when I do 10/5, I have 5/5 plus 5/5, I get 2. And it's saying here the same way I could do this is I could take 2 times 5 and then divide it by 5. Right? I take 5 times 2 and then divide it by 5. What I was saying, Anai, the way I like to do this, I want to turn both of these into fractions. I don't want to have a whole number multiplied times a fraction. Because then I'm like, so I want to just turn my whole number into a fraction, which is very easy. To turn a 5 into a fraction, I just take 5 over 1. Done. Now it's a fraction. Now I can multiply it times 2 over 5. Now 5 over 1 times 2 over 5. So when I multiply fractions, all I do is multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. So I take 5 times 2 is 10. And 1 times 5 is 5. Right? I have the same answer, 10/5. And now this is a division problem. So I'm going to say 10, and I'm going to divide it by 5. So 5 goes into 1? Nope, 0 times. 5 goes into 10? Yes, 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. I subtract, I have 0. All right, Anai, so that was just the practice one. So you have your math pages. You ready? We'll do some together. Okay. So I'm going to take a crayon out to color. So I have 4 times 2/3. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to color 2/3, right? They already broke it up for me. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to color 1, 2. Right? Maybe it would help if we did different colors. So I'm gonna get 4 colors. I'm gonna color each 2 a different color. So I'm gonna say 1, 2, and I'm gonna color 1, 2, and my last color, I think I didn't use this orange yet. So I have 4 colors. So now I colored 2 out of 3, right? 1, 2. I didn't color 3. Wait, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right? 2 out of 3, 4 times. I did it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to just take these and move them over here. So I had 2. I'm going to color 2. I had 2. I'm going to color 2 more. Right, I'll color 1 over here and 1 over here. I'm separating it a little bit. And now I need to color these 2, so I will color this one and this one. And now 2 more. So I'm going to color 1 and 2. So now my answer is going to be, I colored 3 out of 3, right? This is 3 out of 3, which is equal to 1 whole. And I colored 3 out of 3, which is equal to 1 whole. And here I colored 2 out of 3. So I'm going to add my 1 whole plus my 1 whole, right? This is equal to 1 plus 1 plus my 2/3. So my answer is going to be 2 and 2/3. What do you think, Anai? All right, so here is my next problem. I have 3/4 times 2. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm only doing 2, so I'm only going to get 2 colors this time. But I will do 3/4. So I'm going to do 3/4, 1, 2, 3 out of the 4. Right, and here I'm going to say 1, 2, 3 out of my 4. So this is my equals, right? I'm just going to move them over here now so that I can add, I'm like kind of adding them together. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to put these 3. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. So right now I have 4 out of 4 here. But here I have 2 out of 4. And 2 out of 4, hopefully you can see, I could break this into 2 pieces. Instead of 4 pieces, I'm going to just break it into 2 pieces. And if I would have 1 out of 2 of those pieces, right, I colored in 1. If I just had 2 pieces, right, 2/4 is equal to 1/2. My math way I do it, I divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2. I have 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So I have 1/2. So now my problem, I'm going to have 1 plus 1/2. Hi, Ramber. So I'm going to do this because remember you just popped in here, huh? So I'm going to do one of this one. I'm going to do it the other way also, right? So my way I like to do, right? This is the way our book is doing it. We're doing models and seeing, so you can see it. I like that too. But the way I feel like this is easy, if I take my 3/4, because multiplication of fractions, right? I just multiply the top 2 numbers times the bottom 2 numbers, my numerators times my denominators, and then I reduce or whatever else I have to do when I'm finished. So 3/4, but 2, any number I can turn into a fraction. To turn a 2 into a fraction, I just put a 1 on the bottom, and now it's a fraction. So now I can do my math. I can take 3 times 2 and 4 times 1. So in multiplication, I just multiply the top, my numerators, and I multiply my denominators times each other, and then I divide. Right? That's what they're saying here, except for they said 5 times 2. Right? They did the 2 times 5 divided by 5, right? It would be 5 times 1. Anyway. All right, back to over here. So 3 times 2 is 6. And 4 times 1 is 4. And hopefully you see, right, I cannot leave my fraction improper, right? This is improper. The numerator is bigger than the denominator. And there's different ways I could figure that out. I could take my 6 and divide it by 4. Right, 4 goes into 6 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. I subtract, I have 2. I bring my remainder and make it my numerator, and my number I was dividing by is still my denominator. It's still the number I'm still going to divide by. And 1 2/4, right, we figured out 2/4 is equal to 1/2, right? I divide the top by 2 and I divide the bottom by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So I have 1/2. So 1 2/4 is the same as 1 1/2, which is my same answer I got here, right? Which is still my 6/4. I'm just dividing 6 divided by 4, right? A fraction just means the numerator is getting divided by the denominator. The other way I could do this 6/4, since they're small numbers, is to say 6/4 is going to be the same as 4/4 plus 2/4, right? 4/4, I go 4, because when I do addition of, I'm doing backwards, right? I'm saying 4, 4, 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. Oh, okay, that's my same, right? So this is going to be the same. 4 over 4 is equal to 1 2/4. Right, and 2/4, we just figured out a bunch of times 2/4 is the same as 1/2. Let me know. So I just wanted to do the fraction pieces, right, to show you guys. 1/2 is the same as 2/4, right? It's the same size. So that's just what I did right here, right? They had fourths, but I only did half of them. Sorry, I don't even have 4/4. I only have 3/4 at home. I'm missing fraction pieces. So, right, if I had another fourth, you could see that half is 2/4, right? I didn't even color my other piece of my fraction. So here is Melinda. She spent first I should read my directions at the top, right? It says use models to help you solve exercises 3 through 5, then complete the equation. So we can draw our models over here, right? It says my drawing, so we're drawing our models. Woo, it zoomed in and out a lot there. Let me lock it now. Okay, so here's Melinda. She spent 4 hours reviewing for her midterm exams. Right, when you guys get to middle school, they're going to give you, your tests are called differently. So we're going to call midterm exams. It's just a test, but it's in the middle of a semester or trimester. So she spent 1/4 of her time studying for social studies. How many hours did she spend on social studies? So she spent 4 hours of her time reviewing for her midterms. 1/4 of that time was spent on social studies. So we are going to multiply our time we spent, right? This is where it gets a little tricky, is hearing how they word it. So what she is doing, she's taking her 4 hours. I don't know what she's doing with the rest of her time, but I know that she's spending her 4 hours, 1/4 of them, right? If she spent 4 hours, every 4 hours she could sew 2 socks. I'd have 4 times 2, right? If she was studying 4 hours, she studied 2 subjects. I could say she studied 8 subjects in 4 hours or something. But here I'm only studying 1/4 of my hours is spent on social studies. So I'm going to multiply 4 times 1/4. Right, so here is one of her hours. I'm going to draw my models. Here's one of the hours she spent studying. Here's another hour she spent studying. Here's another hour she spent studying. And here's another hour she spent studying. So here are her 4 hours. Of these 4 hours that she spent studying, 1/4 is for social studies. So I'm going to divide my hours up into 4 pieces. So I just draw 3 lines to do 4 pieces. All right, so each hour I'm going to make social studies green. So each hour she's going to study social studies, social studies, social studies, and social studies, right? These problems, I could give you all kinds of problems. I could tell you she studied math 2/4 of the hour, right? And we could do all kinds of fun problems with this. But we're just going to do, right now we're just going to say 1/4 of her hour is for social studies. So now, right when I drew my models, I want to go here. I'm going to make one more model with fourths. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to put all of my time studying social studies onto one model. So she did 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And hopefully now you can see, right, she has 4 out of 4 of, she's going to have spent 1 hour studying social studies. So I guess we're also supposed to, I should probably write my math problem over here, even though, I don't know, I could say, maybe I'll say C drawing, because they told me to write my model, draw my model. So I'll say C drawing or C model, but it said drawing up here, so I put drawing. C drawing, but then I'm going to put my answer is 1 hour. Right? She spent 1 hour studying social studies. Here's my real math. They wrote it for us, so that's why I didn't write it up here. 4 hours, 1/4 of the hour was spent on social studies, so we're going to have 4 divided by 4. We're dividing up into 4 pieces, right? 4 divided by 4 is 1. I'm really not sure why they did it like that, but this part would confuse me. So if this part confused you, I would say, yeah, okay. So for the way I would do it, my equation, I would take my fraction of 4 and turn it into a fraction. And then I would divide it by the 1/4, which is still going to be the same, 4 divided by 4. But it's just hard to see like that. Okay, so 4 times 1, right? And I'm going to have 1 times 4 on the bottom. My numerators multiply together and my denominators. So it's different than when addition. My denominators do not stay the same. I multiply them. So 4 times 1 is 4, and 1 times 4 is 4. Right? That's how they got 4 divided by 4, because a fraction is just a division problem. So this means 4 divided by 4, and 4 divided by 4 would be 1. What do you think? Confusing? Alright, so here's a kid, Cody. Cody wants to watch a new movie that is 3 hours long. He has watched 1/6 of the movie so far. What fraction of 1 hour did Cody spend watching the new movie? So, right, we're saying 3 hours that he spent watching his movie. But out of 1 hour, if he's watched 1/6 of the movie so far, it's 3 hours long. So how many hours out of the 1 hour did he in 1 hour, what's the percentage of the movie he's watched? So what fraction of 1 hour did Cody spend watching the new movie? Sorry, that's what they're asking. So how much time out of his 3 hours he watched 1/6 of it? It's a 3-hour movie, right? If I had 6/6, I'd have my whole movie, it'd be 3 hours. So I want to figure out in 1 hour how much time he spent watching the movie. So sorry, I'm saying it wrong still. What fraction of 1 hour? So what part of the hour did he spend watching the movie? He didn't spend all 3 hours yet. All right, so we're going to have 3 times 1/6. So here are my 3 hours. I'm going to have, so here's my movie. It's 3 hours, right? I have to think about it. So when I have you guys, I'm like, oh, you probably had to think about it too. So here is my 3 hours, right? It's going to be 6. Right, he watched 1/6 of it. This is the whole movie. But I'm going to break my movie up into 6 parts. So I'm going to break my 6 up into, or this is where, I don't know how that would make any sense to you guys, but I'm going to break my movie up into 6 parts. This would be my fraction. They're probably doing it different. I'm going to guess they took their 3 and divided up into 6 pieces and added it like that. But I'm going to do this like this. Here's my 3 hours. There's 6 parts to the movie. And he watched 1/6 of the movie. So can you see how much of right, here's my hours. 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours. So how much of 1 hour did he watch? One out of two. Yes. 1/2 of an hour. He watched 1/2 of an hour. I'm going to say this is probably how they would do it in here, right? And I'm going to say it's going to work the same way, but let's check it. So I'll have my 3 hours. I'm going to divide it into 6 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're going to, right, he's going to watch 1/6 of this 3-hour movie. So this is the 3-hour movie, right? He watched 1/6 of it. So if I was going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I would put my sixes here and I'd have 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6, right? Which would be 3 out of 6. And I could still break this up into 2 pieces and I'd have 1/2 of my movie. So, but somehow my brain doesn't see it this way. My brain sees it this way in the models, right? But our brains just see things different ways. So with the models, I kind of have to figure out what it does make. So some people really like the models and it makes it easier. And that's why our book does it. For me, though, I kind of see the math. So I'm going to have 3. I'm going to turn it into a fraction times 1/6. So I'm going to have 3 times 1 and 1 times 6. And I will still have 3 out of 6. So I'm going to take 3 divided by 6. And 3 divided by 6 is 1/2. Right, I divide my top by 3 and my bottom by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Ooh, I forgot to say 1/2 an hour. He spent half an hour so far watching his movie. Right, 1/6 will be 1/2 an hour. Then he'll watch another 6 of it, that'll be 1 hour. Then another 6 of it, it'll be 3/6, another hour, or half hour, another half hour. Right, so he'll have 4/6, then he'll have 5/6, and 6/6 in his final hour. He'll watch the whole movie. All right, so here's the distance from Paula's house to school is 5 miles. There is a set of railroad tracks 1/4 of the distance away from her house. How many miles away are the railroad tracks from Paula's house? Right, these are the ones where I'm like, it does seem a little crazy. So that. All right, so I get a little messed up with these kind of ones because I'm like, what are they trying to tell me? So I'm going to picture it a little differently. I'm going to picture a number line. And I'm going to picture this broken up into 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the 5 miles she has to walk to school, right? There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4. And here's the 5th mile she has to walk to school. And 1/4 of the way from her house, she's going to see a train. So I still have the same distance, but now I'm going to break it up into 4 pieces. And I'm trying to do equal pieces. So I'm going to go, I'll break this in half first, and then in half and half. So I'm going to say her distance is a little bit more than 1. So the way that they're showing us to do it in our drawings would be like this, right? I would do my 5 miles. 1, 2, 3. Oops, I'll do my 4 and 5. And I'm going to break each of my miles up into fourths. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to take 1/4 of each of my miles, because it's 1/4 of the distance, right? If I did equal here, right, I don't know 1/4 of this whole distance, but if I did 1/4 of each part of the distances and add them together, I would know 1/4 of the total distance. So it's still, I know that's a funny way to do it, but if you did do it this way, hopefully you can see I could draw my fractions 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All of a sudden, I just remembered yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, and they're going to have shamrock shakes at McDonald's. So 1, 2, 3, 4, plus one more. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, plus one more. I think my green crayon made me remember about shamrock shakes at McDonald's. All right, so I'm going to say I have 1 1/4 miles out of the 5 miles. So here we're going to do the math part of it. 5 times 1/4 would be the same as, I'm going to show you my way, right? 5 times 1 times 1/4, which is going to be equal to 5 times 1 plus 1 times over 1 times 4. So 5 times 1 is just the 5 right here. Divided by 1 times 4 is the 4. Right? This is the same as 5/4, which is the same as 5 divided by 4. I could do it a couple different ways. I could take my 5 and divide it by 4. 4 goes into 5 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. I subtract, I get 1. I bring my remainder up as my numerator, and my number I was dividing by, I'm still dividing by, so I put it back as my denominator, 1 1/4. The other way to do it is to kind of go backwards. I know how to add fractions now, right? I could add two fractions together. One of them I want it to be 4/4, so I get my one whole number here. But 4/4 plus something is 5/4, right? The 4 stays the same. 4 plus 1 would be 5/4. So now my new answer is going to be 1 1/4.